What's up, everybody? Erik, president of Atlas Credit Consulting, welcome you to another Conversations on Credit Knowledge cast, more affectionately known around these parts as the COPcast. This is episode 7, the credit score awakens, FICO versus Vantage. This is something I hear all the time. People are always talking about it, and it's surprising how many people don't know shit. I'm going to start off before I do my shameless plug and get into it by saying something very loud for the people in the front and the people in the back. Credit Karma is an accurate score. Vantage scores are accurate scores. If somebody says that they are not, get away from them. They probably have, they call themselves dog parents or something. Point I'm trying to make is they don't know what they're speaking about. I'm going to explain it a little more in depth. Now for the shameless plug that I aforementioned. You don't know who we are yet? Impossible, you're watching our video. But if you need to know a little more about us, Google reviews, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, you name it, we are there. We try our best to be everywhere you are. In some places you are not. I'm going to dive right into it today because this is a very comprehensive topic that a lot of people have questions about. Real quickly, video brought to you by me. If you know my wife, you know this is absolutely fucking true. Anyways, FICO versus Vantage. Similarities and differences, yes. At the end of the video, we're going to be talking about which scores go towards which things you're trying to get. For starters, we're going to talk about how they're the same. Now, for this video, we're going to be going off the Vantage 4.0 model, which is just recently released, which is only a little different than the 3.0 model, which Credit Karma uses. And the only difference is the 4.0 kind of helps them predict a few more factors, but it's not going to be crazy different. Both your Vantage and your FICO now go from ranges 300 to 850. There used to be a little bit of a difference in there, but they've lined it up. I think that's good for everybody involved. Both of them have the same job. Now, a lot of times people will tell you that credit is, what you can buy, what's your worthiness as far as it comes to attaining, people lending you money. That's not true. Actually, your credit score is the likelihood that you're going to default and mess up. So the higher the score, the less likely you are to mess up. Both the Vantage and the FICO are influenced by the same factors. Payment history, utilization, credit mix, all that stuff you already know go into those scores. Both are actually in compliance with the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, which means both of those scores are viable options as far as it goes to looking at your credit. Now, why everybody's up in arms, the differences. What are the differences? For starters, you have to understand that they're competitors. They are the Red Sox and the Yankees. They are the Bloods and the Crips. They are the Palestinians and the Jews. Soft subject, whatever. You get the point. FICO started in 1989, at least their scores did. The company started in the 50s. Vantage scores didn't come around to 2006 and was created by the three bureaus, Equifax, TransUnion, and Experian, as an alternative, although those three bureaus obviously still use FICO scores. The second thing you have to understand is the criteria to the score is different in order to have a score. So for FICO, you have to have an open trade line for at least 6 months. A trade line is a credit card, a mortgage payment, a loan. Something on your credit, some account has to be open for at least 6 months to generate your score from a FICO standpoint. Vantage, pretty much as soon as you open something, you have a score. You only need 1 month to get a Vantage score. The value of the points. This is why the scores are different. So, for example, a FICO model, depending on which one it is, might weigh your on-time payments, and it might be 200 points of your credit score. Whereas a Vantage model might weigh your on-time payments, and it might be 250. It just depends. But that is why the scores are usually different. They also take into account different things at different points, but that's going to be a little too precise for most people to understand. We're just trying to give you the basic overview of how they are different and how they're the same. Score values. So for example, your FICO score. To have an excellent FICO score, 800 and above is considered excellent, whereas your Vantage score, 781 and above is considered excellent. Good, in order to have a good FICO score, it's going to be somewhere between 670 and 739. Vantage is between 601 and 660. So there are differences, but both are valid depending on what you're trying to do. To break it down a little bit further for you, the new Vantage model has a different breakdown of what each thing matters towards on your score. For example, your Vantage score, your payment history is 41% of your score, whereas on your FICO models, it's 35%. Your age of credit, your mix of credit is 20%, your credit utilization is 20%, Your new credit is 11%, your credit balance is 6%, and your available credit is 2%. Now I know what you're thinking. Wouldn't credit balance and available credit tie in to credit utilization? Yes, it would, and it does. It's just broken down a little more specifically to try to generate more accurate data. Whereas on the FICO, your history of your accounts, your new credit, your mixture of accounts combines for 35%, and your utilization is 30%. So the utilization is about the same on FICO Advantage, it's just broken down a little bit differently. Next question, Erik, how do I know which FICO score to look at depending on what I'm trying to do? Great question, we'll go with FICO. So the FICO mortgage scores that are being used by most lenders today are the 5, the 4, and the 2. The 10 just came out, but is not really being picked up just yet. That's gonna be the most accurate one that's gonna take in trending data, rent payments, things like that. That's a different story for a different time. 5, 4, and 2 are the ones you need to look at. Your auto score, if you're trying to attain an auto loan, it's gonna be 2, 5, 4, 8, and 9. Any combination of those depending on the lender, depending on the bank. Credit cards, if you're just trying to attain a basic line of credit or a loan, that's also gonna be your 2, your 4, your 5, your 8, and your 9. When you log into your free Experian account, that FICO 8 score you see is pretty much the most accurate credit-worthy score you see. So why do people say that Credit Karma is not real? Those scores aren't real. They say that because they are lenders, or they are working with lenders that are lending out big dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars sometimes, whereas most of the time, Credit Karma is used to help build credit. You'll notice when you get on Credit Karma, you get all these ads, all these credit cards. Well, if the Vantage scores weren't a thing and they weren't real, you wouldn't be able to use those to attain the cards on that site. Guess what else you can also attain on that site? An auto loan and a mortgage loan. So there are 5 to 10% of lenders out there that do use Vantage instead of FICO, but as you can see, 90% of them use FICO. That's why people are so into the FICO scores, and you should be too. It's my recommendation that you do follow your FICO score more than your Vantage score, but your Vantage score is not incorrect. Anybody who says that, like I said, steer clear from them. They do not understand the actual question that you are asking. One of the good things about a site like Credit Karma is it updates your scores on the Vantage scores more frequently, and it's free. People don't want to pay for credit scores. So that's a good thing. Experian can give you a free FICO 8 score. So there are ways to get your scores, there are ways to get your information. If you're looking for all these FICO scores, I would recommend going to a site like MyFICO and coughing up the $40 a month so you get the report every month. But you don't really have to do that. Just knowing your information and knowing where your utilization and your negatives and your positives stand can go a lot further than you possibly think. Sorry for keeping you guys so long today. Normally I try to get out of here in 5 minutes. It's not for you, it's for me. I just love tequila. The reason this video was so long is because I'm out of tequila. I gotta drink vodka. I'm pissed off about it. I don't want to talk about it, so I'm done talking. Hopefully you learned some differences today between the FICO and the Vantage models. Hopefully you learned to tell people to piss off if they tell you that Vantage doesn't matter. And hopefully you enjoyed your time with Claire's trophy husband. My name is Erik Finchler. I am the president of Atlas Credit Consulting. We're at Atlas. Your credit score may be a number to you, but you are not a number to us. Thank you much for joining. Thank you much for leaving. Salutations.